Ooh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug podcast. It is time to review Canadian Heartbreak in all its glory, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Elimination Chamber 2023. I'm the Egyptian Death Machine, Aeron Nix, and of course, joining me is the only man you could truly unwrap one of the most devastating and emotional nights in Canadian wrestling history, but the Maple Leaf Magician himself, Kyle, the Duke of Diabetes, Kyle Wilkinson. Man, it's been an evening, hasn't it, buddy?
Fucking heartbreaker, man. I'm so defeated. I knew what was gonna happen because it's the only thing that really made quote unquote sense. But to see it happen,
It's the hope that'll kill you, my friend. It's the
oh,
hope that'll kill you.
I'm dead. I am
Yeah.
dead. DED dead.
But we do have a WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view to review, and review we shall. So 5 matches on tap for this pay-per-view spectacular premium live event. Show opens, of course, with the Women's Elimination Chamber. The winner would face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 39 for the Raw Women's Championship. And of course, we now know that the number one contender will be the reformed and repackaged Asuka, who was dominant inside the Elimination Chamber. A fine way to kick off the show.
Definitely the only winner, I think.
Yeah.
Like Raquel, maybe. Like I would have been okay with that. But I mean, it's Asuka. She came back with the new paint or the new old paint at the Rumble. She's terrifying again.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got this like sinister like demon cat thing going on. It's pretty hot, if I'm being honest. It's yeah. Woman is live as hell. But yeah, no, I enjoyed this match. I don't think it was as good as the other Elimination Chamber, but then they were given an extraordinary amount of time to really go for it, and that was a star building process. But this match was good. I was really impressed with Carmella, actually. Feel like she's just getting better and better, considering that she's had quite a long time out, hasn't she? You know, she got married.
Yeah,
I don't know if she had injuries as well to boot. She looks incredible. Her gear was on point. I felt like every woman contributed fairly well to this match. You know, Natalia did what she does best. She got in there, did some good wrestling, but ultimately the crowd, this is probably the most over I've heard her for about the best part of 10 to 15 years now. And obviously it's a bit skewed because we're in Montreal, but you know, it was cool. It was cool. I think Asuka, though, is the right winner. I think she's the only one, like we said on the predictions on this week's State of Wrestling address for anyone who watched with myself, Tanvir, and Frankie. I said that Asuka was the only person really who has any business being in that main event level match with Bianca Belair. Love the other women. I thought Liv Morgan was amazing again. Continues to defy critics with her quality of wrestling and her style despite her size. You know, she's obviously fucking beautiful. I'm running out of superlatives to describe how much I'm in love with Liv Morgan, but yeah, I think Asuka's the right choice, really. Anything else that really jumped out at you from this one?
Not honestly. Like the men's had a few more high spots in it. Like this one was still solid. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, all that really matters is that Asuka won.
Yeah.
And I think her and Bianca are gonna tear it down in Mania. It'll be a year straight for Bianca, which is also pretty sick.
Yes, it will. Yeah, it's really good storytelling. Again, what I liked about all the matches tonight is they all had a bit of storytelling elements to them, except for one, really, which I thought was a big letdown when you consider what we were expecting from it, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But Asuka winning is the right choice. Yeah, absolutely. 19 minutes 30, quite a short match when you consider the other two major matches on here, the other Elimination Chamber, and of course the spectacular main event. Both went over half an hour. This was 19 minutes 30.
There was less than 20 minutes, really?
Yeah, it's yeah, they got through it quick. It seemed to get to the finish really quickly, I noticed, which was interesting to me. Like, I don't hate that. I think that was a good thing because you had so many emotional elements later on in the night. This ultimately became kind of the feel good moment of the show, didn't it? Considering, you know, who else won the major high profile matches. there was one match on this card that I was super excited about. I know I was probably more hyped for it than most people. And that's Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Massive letdown, to be honest. The match was going okay. The pacing was fine. They were going for WrestleMania 33, which is kind of the benchmark, the L1 parade. And then out of nowhere, Brock Lesnar can't get out of the hurt lock, so he low blows Bobby Lashley and gets disqualified. There was the tease, obviously, of Bray Wyatt saying that he was going to come after one of these guys. That didn't come to fruition in this pay-per-view. So, again, a slow burn. To be honest, I don't feel like Bray Wyatt or Uncle Howdy are suited for either of these guys in a long-term storyline, but it's hard not to feel disappointed that it ended with a DQ. Lesnar goes a bit mental at the end, fires a few people, beats up some referees, and then kind of wanders off. And it's almost that thing of, do you know what it stunk of? It felt like Brock Lesnar didn't want to take an actual fall, so this was the only way they could get Lashley to pick up a win, so to speak.
I could see Lesnar not playing ball like that. Absolutely. Like, I was excited for some big meaty men slapping meat, you know? And
That's
we
twice
got
now.
it for
It's twice. The 2 times Bobby Lashley's beaten Lesnar have been by DQ. Or, well, I mean, he did beat him technically clean, but it was at the Royal Rumble. And, of course, last year's Royal Rumble, and that was more due to the shenanigans involving Roman Reigns interrupting and obviously Paul Heyman realigning himself with him and turning on Brock Lesnar. So it just, Lashley yet to have a clean, distinctive victory over Brock Lesnar. Yes, he's won twice, but it just doesn't mean anything. And it's probably for me the worst outcome, because Bobby Lashley still looks like the big meaty hoss that's kind of floating around in the mid card, but playing with a lot of the big boys. Brock Lesnar, it doesn't do anything for me because, to be honest, it just makes him look like a bit of a bitch. Like, yes, the only thing that looks strong out of this is the hurt lock, because ultimately he couldn't get out of it, so he low blowed him, which kind of makes the move look strong, but it doesn't help either of the guys from a storyline perspective. You probably would have been better off having Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt attack both of them and maybe building to, but then they're, if you team them up, they're way too powerful to be, overthrown by anyone, in my opinion.
God.
So, yeah, it's, I just thought it was a bit disappointing. Match was only 4 minutes 45 as well, quite short.
I mean, standard Lesnar match at this point, really. Like, don't get me wrong, I love, like, Cowboy Brock. Like, it's been a lot of fun, but that was this was lame.
Yeah, it just didn't work for me. Just did not
No.
work. I came away from it feeling slightly disappointed. Probably not nearly as much as most people did coming away from the main event, but still disappointed enough. It was then followed up with a mixed tag team match, Edge and Beth Phoenix versus the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. We were all kind of doing mental gymnastics in our head. How are we going to get out of this? Because Rhea Ripley's got the big title matches, and she was Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. But Edge has obviously been eating quite a lot of shit from the Judgment Day. And ultimately, Edge and Beth Phoenix get the win. It's Edge pinning Finn Balor, which is probably the best way to protect Rhea Ripley, because she's not the one that takes the pinfall. But it was a fun match. The work rate was great. I think Edge and Finn Balor have found themselves in a really nice little rivalry. They've got great chemistry in the ring. The problem is that, like Ben, who watched it with us, said, like, it is something that we've seen quite a lot, and there's been way too many times where Edge has been written off of TV thanks to the Judgment Day. This is like, the second time he's returned to attack, or maybe the third time he's come back to attack the Judgment Day. And it's just one of these things where you're like, oh, okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, it's not moving the needle. It's not moving the chains. Very much like the Lesnar-Lashley match. It should be a bigger deal than it is, but it's not, because it didn't move the chains. Ultimately, Edge gets a win, which is important, because it would have made absolutely no sense for him to lose, especially after his wife got a skull caved in. That was the last major flashpoint, along with the Royal Rumble and Beth Phoenix's return. I thought Beth looked amazing, by the way, like incredible shape. She could still go for years, I reckon, on the roster if she wanted to. The fact that she's just coming back and having like maybe one match a year, I mean, I'm very impressed. Very, very impressed. But ultimately, I didn't care that much, because we now want to see Rhea Ripley building to her match with Charlotte Flair. So this just felt like a stopgap, something to do. Credit to Dominic, though. Massively over the heel.
Oh, he's such a little shithead.
He's such a gobshot, isn't he? He's really good at
I know.
it. Yeah.
But, like, so Rhea goes to face Charlotte. Do we get Edge and Balor one more time at Mania? Because they had that I Quit match, which resulted in, Beth being concertoed. and he tossed Finn out at the Rumble, if I remember right. They've had this, like, dude, can we please finish it at WrestleMania? I love Edge to death.
Yeah,
I
I do.
think that's pretty well known, and I like Finn Balor a lot as well. But this is starting to get tedious.
Yeah,
It,
I don't care. I just don't care that
no,
much, to be honest. And it's a shame because I love everything Edge does, but it's a little bit like his rivalry with Orton. Yeah, it's good, but it needs to be wrapped up. Problem is, like, Edge is pretty much going to be set now, probably to face Finn Balor again at WrestleMania. That, so maybe I'd assume Finn Balor beats Edge at Mania just because he's going to be around a lot longer, most probably. Edge has hinted that this might be his last year of retirement. Before he retires. I don't know. I just felt like, it wasn't terrible. I wasn't offended by it. I enjoyed it, but I also felt like at the same time, this probably could have main evented Raw or SmackDown. Did it really need to be in the middle of a pay-per-view that had so many emotionally charged matches and storylines? Probably not. I mean, what match do you put these two in to end this rivalry?
I mean you've already had an I Quit match.
Got to be a death match
Like,
or a Hell in a Cell or something. It's got to be something dramatic. It's probably going to be a steel cage or something, isn't it? And even
I
then, I don't think whatever they do, unless they go full Hell in a Cell and they go full dark with it and they fuck each other up with a lot of blood and stuff, I just don't really see a good ending to this rivalry. I think it's one of these rivalries that will probably end up limping off of our TV screens as opposed to going out in a blaze of glory.
yeah, I mean it, I was bored. Like, don't get me wrong, the action wasn't boring, but
Mm.
I was just like, it's it's on. It's definitely a mid-card match.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it belonged in the middle. Yeah, I will see what they do. They're probably going to have a storyline going into Raw in a couple of nights, but like you say, I just felt slightly underwhelmed. So that was two matches actually. Now that I think about it, maybe we were so consumed with the last two, but now that I think about it, these two matches, like I would have rather just had the three matches, the two elimination chambers and the title match, just kind of had this absolute ball busting three match pay per view. I know that's not good value for money, but in
Mm.
retrospect, these two matches, Lashley and Lesnar, and obviously Judgment Day versus, Edge and Beth Phoenix, that was like, what, 20 minutes of our time? So you could have just yeeted them both out of the way. Again, Gunther could have defended the IC title on this pay per view and built up his stock more. Instead, he's defending the title against Madcap Moss on SmackDown. Like, just come on. Like, come on, man. You've got all these titles in the company that need defending. You could have had an NXT championship match here as a nice little kind of, sort of exhibition of what the developmental brand's all about. You've opted for this, which is fine. I don't deny that Edge is a big draw, especially in Canada. I love Edge. He's one of my favorite all-time wrestlers. Absolutely one of the all-time greats for me. But yeah, I just didn't care that much. I did, however, care about the Raw Elimination Chamber for the United States Championship. Austin Theory
Mm.
successfully retains in an absolute ballbuster. So, some people raised eyebrows when they saw the people in this match. You got Seth Rollins and Austin Theory renewing their rivalry. They seem to be intrinsically linked quite a lot at the moment. Then you've got Bronson Reed, Montez Ford, Damian Priest, and Johnny Gargano. Four guys who you feel like need that extra push to the next level, could potentially be, big stars, particularly the other three. No offense to Johnny Gargano, but I just feel like, he was in there more for work rate than star power. That's kind of what he felt like. He reminds me of when Jericho was in the Elimination Chamber quite a lot, and he'd always start because he's the good guy who could go in there and
Mm.
work for 50 minutes. He had a great showing. I thought Bronson Reed looked amazing. But the thing that really stood out to me about this match, not who won, not Logan Paul interrupting, which to be fair, I thought was fucking sick. For me, it's the fact that Montez Ford, Bronson Reed, those two especially, came away from this match, and Damian Priest, to be fair, they all three of them came away feeling like they pushed themselves up a level. All of a sudden now, we're talking about Montez Ford as, yeah, this is a guy who I've been saying for a long time on this podcast should be a potential WWE champion. He's got the look, he's got the charisma, his wrestling ability is incredible, his athleticism. He's just got every single tool in the locker to be a massive star. And, you know, him, Bronson Reed, and Damian Priest all came out of this feeling like much bigger deals. So hopefully WWE will keep their foot on the gas and keep building these guys, maybe a slow burn towards later on. You know, all three of these guys by the end of this year should have meaningful title runs, whether it be mid-card belts, tag belts, whatever it might be. And fingers crossed, this match is going to be the launching platform for that. But it's Austin Theory that retains, and that makes sense. We're assuming that Austin Theory is going to face John Cena at WrestleMania. That seems to be the overwhelming kind of consensus. Makes sense, doesn't it? John Cena made the US title very famous for a long time. Obviously, with the open challenges and things like that, they've had a lot of back and forth on social media. But I thought the match was amazing. I thought this was, in terms of pure wrestling quality and work rate, definitely the match of the night.
I mean, we gotta talk about it. Montez Ford's essentially shooting star press from the top of the cell.
Yeah.
Fucking the strength it takes to just scale that chamber as it is. I know the
That
squares,
was his Elix Skipper moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's
I
how
bet you he could definitely like fucking Prince of Persia run across the wall from pod to pod.
Yeah.
I can see that happen.
Yeah.
Montez Ford's a fucking animal.
Yeah, Ford needs to take Kofi Kingston's spot as the guy who never gets eliminated from the Rumble. Like he's so athletic, so sick. For me, he's the one who had the biggest stock rise coming out of this match.
Oh,
the one that I'm thinking,
easy.
yeah, which is great news. But like we were saying, it's kind of sad because in a way, the more he rises, the more we know that Dawkins is probably going to be left at the wayside. Are we going to have another Otis and Tucker situation? Because I really like Dawkins, and I feel like him and Montez Ford should be intrinsically linked. The problem is, if one gets a much bigger push, I mean, it's not always the case. The New Day stayed together, didn't they? Even when Kofi won the WWE title, so there's no reason why you can't do it that way. But I worry that Dawkins is going to get left behind, which is a shame because he's the most improved wrestler in all of WWE. His quality, his in-ring quality, his ability to talk on the mic, everything seems to be getting better and better. He's in the best condition I've ever seen him in, but Montez Ford just feels like he's going to another place, another level. And there were some wild spots in this. The Poison Rana on Bronson Reed was
unreal.
Like,
he is not a small man.
He's 350 pounds and he takes a spot on spike Poison Rana. Austin Theory getting spiked off the DDT. The Hurricane Runner from Johnny Gargano off the pod to the down below was fucking wild. It was just a fucking great match. Funny actually, out of all the people that jumped out to me the least, probably Seth Rollins, who still had a great showing. But, that's where Seth Rollins' value lies, isn't it? The fact that he's able to go into a match like this and help get everybody else over. He really is the company guy.
Yeah, and now we've got definitely got that match with Logan Paul at Mania. Hasn't been officially announced, but when the man who hits the best buckshot lariat hits you, you go to WrestleMania.
Yeah, sorry, Marks, but the bottom line is he has made Hangman Page pretty much redundant at this point. It's going to be a good match. Doesn't matter what people think about Logan Paul. I know Simon Mark's watching this thinking, fuck Logan Paul. Yeah, we get it. But the bottom line is he is a draw and he's an amazing athlete. And I think Seth Rollins is going to be able to get an incredible match with him done. I think those two are probably going to have that's going to be one of the show stealers of WrestleMania. You can just tell that those two are going to go out there and absolutely kill it. So,
well, I mean, he's had it's 3 matches so far, right? 2 with the Miz, or I guess tag with Miz against Miz and Roman.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Miz and Roman are great wrestlers, but they're not like Seth Rollins level.
They're not workhorses.
They're not like the great technical side, like great showmanship and so great wrestlers and all that. But Seth Rollins is like the workhorse. So I'm really excited to see how he can make Logan look like more of a star than he already does, even though I hate the guy.
Yeah, I think he'll come out of that match with even more stock. And if you can pin Logan Paul down for a decent run where he's on Raw and SmackDown regularly and stuff, he could end up being a serious champion. I could see that. He's got all the tools. It's one of those things. You have to separate the emotional value of it, and whether you like the guy or not, he's got something there that so many people could never dream of having coming into this business. It looks like he's tailor-made to be a wrestler. He really does. Yeah. So, yeah. And now, of course, the main event of the evening. The moment where all of
Ugh.
Canadian hopes were crushed in front of a wild and rabid Montreal Quebecois crowd. Sami Zayn unsuccessfully challenged Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship with his family at ringside. A storytelling spectacular. Yeah, it's disappointing, obviously, the ending, but that's how you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel deflated. Do you feel like the ending is slightly underwhelming considering the build to this and the emotional value of what was going on?
The match itself was phenomenal. Like, the bell rang and the guys just stood there for like 2 to 3 minutes just taking it in. And like we were joking around, it's like, come on, man, like, start it. But when you look back on it, just the gravity of that moment, just like the electricity you could feel in the air, like you had to let it settle, you had to let it breathe. And
Don't
then
let it breathe, pal.
some of those near falls, I'm pretty sure I shit my pants.
Yeah, you out of all of us was definitely the one who believed the most. You wanted to believe. I
Oh,
thought it was beautiful to see, someone who's a dear friend to me like yourself also really just enjoying it as we're all meant to enjoy it as proper marks. There's nothing
oh,
wrong with being a mark. Just got to be the right kind of mark. And in this moment, yeah, I'm joking and laughing and talking about all these different people running in and half of the Canadian population invading this match. But you enjoy moments like this. This is what draws you. When people say, "Why do you love wrestling? Why do you spend your life chasing around?" Like for me, for instance, I go all the way around the country chasing after promotions, working in different companies, and all these different things. It's for these moments. You live for these moments. This is what makes us wrestling fans. For the absolute pinnacle of storytelling. Jey Uso obviously comes out, which is a big surprise along with Jimmy as well. So obviously they must have cleared their nonsense with visas and stuff like that. No Solo Sikoa, I noticed. Um, sort of. Well, he didn't have he wasn't in this match at all, was he? Solo Sikoa, if I remember
no,
right.
I
No,
don't believe so.
which is a bit of a surprise. You would have thought he would have out everyone be the nailed on guy to come out. Um, you know, it was interesting. The steel chair spot, they teased it. Is Jay going to hit him? And he doesn't do anything. And I think that's sensible because you still got to deal with the tag titles. If Jay turns on Roman, but Jimmy's still in Roman's corner, it completely fucks the tag team titles and the reign. So you've got to kind of tease it more and slow burn it. I think they dropped the tag titles to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. That's what it looks
I'm
like. It's a very bad. It's a shame, isn't it? Because normally you'd be well up for that, wouldn't you? But it's that thing,
100% I would.
a small consolation considering what we could have had. And obviously at the end, there's that kind of they're trying to give you a good feel good go home moment. Kevin Owens moves out of the way, allows Sami to Helluva kick Roman Reigns, send him packing, but ultimately it doesn't matter. He lost the match, and he lost it clean as well. Um,
Well, I mean, there was like 3 ref bombs. He got demolished with a chair before the final
Yeah,
spear.
I mean, when I say clean, I think I mean more so in the sense of he was actually pinned. It wasn't like,
Yeah, that's
oh,
fair.
fucking DQ or anything like that. But obviously, plenty of shenanigans and a lot of Superman punches. I personally thought Sami Zayn's family ringside were amazing. They helped sell this so well. It's not easy, being somebody who's not intrinsically in the business every day. So for them to be at ringside and truly make it feel like, yeah, no, we legitimately are desperate for our husband, for our father, whoever he might be, to win this match, to bring it home in front of all of his family, his friends, his countrymen. It was beautifully done. It really was. But yeah, it's different. They're in a difficult spot now because obviously they've now done the turn with Sami Zayn, so he's now back in the limelight as the face. So the bloodline is dysfunctional. Who's siding with who? Is Jay on Roman's side or not? Or is he too weak? All these different things. They're there, but I feel like we're now on the back end of things, and I worry it might actually fizzle out without really giving us what we need. Now all eyes are on Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, which is kind of difficult because we still intrinsically want to be involved with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns and the bloodline. And I feel like we're going to be slowly moving away from it now in favor of an inevitable Cody Rhodes title run, which is what I think is going to happen.
I mean, don't get me wrong, still excited for the match between Cody and Roman. I think it's going to be great. The moment Cody wins, because you're right, I think it's inevitable. It'll be great, but I I love seeing Sami and Kevin Owens together, be they opponents or teammates, heel or face, it doesn't matter. I love it, but after this, if they just get the tag titles, like sure they end a record-setting reign, it's a big moment, but it's just kind of like a
Consolation,
wet.
isn't it?
It's a wet fart in comparison to, like you said, what we could have had. The titles could have been split up. There's
Yeah,
still something that they
yeah.
could maybe do at Mania. We've got, I think it's 6 weeks between now and Mania to see something. I'd love to see a rematch. I don't think we will, but I'd love to see one. But
Just
if I mean
feels
if
like they're always going to be bridesmaids, doesn't it? Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I think that's
uh,
probably. Would you say it's fair to say that's probably what is making you feel lower about the whole situation? Is once again, it's that thing of they get close, but they truly don't seem to be properly on top. I know Kevin Owens had the Universal Championship, but it was an absolute farce of a run. The way they, basically shit canned him. He was a transitional champion in favor of Goldberg, and then Jericho and him kind of flattered to deceive, even though they had that incredible festival of friendship and stuff. It does kind of feel like they're always going to be the great what they're almost like Uber Cesaros in the sense of they can always be trusted to go out there and do the very best and have the best matches, but they're never going to be trusted to be the marquee guys at the very top of the ladder. That being said, Sami Zayn a year ago was in a rivalry with Johnny Knoxville, having dumb, silly match. Don't get me wrong, loved it, very entertaining.
oh, loved it very much.
He was having silly fucking dumb hardcore matches and getting attacked in fucking all kinds of weird segments. And here he is at the absolute pinnacle of the card, wrestling Roman Reigns, who is by far and away the biggest star in professional wrestling. So there is that. So it's not a total loss. It's just a shame because, yeah. But that being said, I do trust WWE and Triple H in the current creative stint that they're on. I trust them to give us something that we will truly love and enjoy. It's just a shame because all eyes are going to be on Roman versus Cody now. So yeah, like it just feels like Sami Zayn is that's him done as far as being in that top pinnacle spot. It was building and building and building for months and months. Sami Zayn's going to turn. Sami Zayn's going to draw. What's he going to do? Sami Zayn's at the pinnacle, and now it's done. And it's like, and I think one of the come downs for me is knowing that we're no longer in that super powerful emotional storytelling mode that we were with Bloodline and Sami Zayn. We're now on the tail end of that. And it does kind of feel like now we're going to be moving slowly away from it. And I think for a lot of us, this has been truly the best storyline that wrestling has been able to produce in the last 10, 15 years. So now all of
Oh,
a
easy.
sudden, we're like, shit. Like, are we now on is it, we've been on this crazy roller coaster ride on, probably the hardest drugs you can imagine for 8 months. Are we now on a come down? That's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, I don't want to detox from this. I still want this hooked straight into my veins.
Yeah, we still want more. Like at this point we're addicts and we need more Sami Zayn, more Bloodline, more Kevin Owens. That's what we want. But yeah, I mean, is it mission accomplished for you in terms of it, the storytelling, or do you feel like they should have pulled the trigger and put the belt on Sami Zayn?
It's still so hard because, like I said, they could have split it up, like the championships. They could have split them up because you've seen the Usos defending the Raw and SmackDown titles separately,
Yeah,
and like my heart wanted that trigger pulled so bad because like if they do a rematch at Mania, it's not gonna feel the same. Like you strike while the iron's hot. You wait 6 weeks. It's like trying to start a fire on wet wood.
yeah, it's a very good analogy actually. What do you think for WrestleMania? Roman versus Cody, just straight one on one, and that's it.
I think that's what they're gonna do. I think it'll main event night 2, like the traditional
Yeah.
WrestleMania night. It's gonna be a huge moment.
Yeah, like we're still gonna love it and enjoy it. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna be exhausted that weekend because I'm doing 3 shows and also watching WrestleMania live.
fuck
So
me.
I'm gonna be fucking dead. But it's one of those things where you got to make the sacrifice. WrestleMania weekend is always mental anyway. We're always all really fucked, but the Raw after WrestleMania normally is where like everyone just crashes out for 24 hours afterwards. Like dead
Yeah.
now, free NXT, you can get in the fucking bin. Nobody's got time for you on Tuesday nights. I'm going to bed. Yeah, no, I am still very excited, and I'm obviously super invested in WWE's product right now. But yeah, now like the come down and the adrenaline's worn off, and I'm tired, and I've had a very, obviously, as everyone who knows, apologies to a lot of our fans as well. There hasn't been much content. Usually, a few people have messaged me, how come you stopped the Raw and SmackDown reviews? Just been super busy. I've had 9 shows in the last 3 weeks. Just haven't had time, with the editing, and obviously this is like my full work. So but yeah, like I think that combined with all of this emotion, this roller coaster, it's hard not to feel slightly burnt out. I'm grateful that Raw isn't tomorrow night, that it's Saturday. I mean, I'm loving this Saturday night pay-per-view stuff. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday is a chance to fully decompress, get some work done, try and relax, bring the body back down again. And then obviously we can gear up and see what happens on Raw on Monday night. Any final thoughts on the Elimination Chamber premium live event?
I mean, I'm still gonna give it like an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. Like it was still a brilliant show.
Yeah.
We even got our resident AEW Mark fucking excited. That was the best part, honestly.
Adam Wessex is like desperately trying to not admit that he loves WWE, even though he's a hardcore AEW Mark. He's just glorious. I love just looking at him squirm in his seat.
Yeah.
Squirming because he knows he's got to grovel to Tony. Please take me back, Tony. I only enjoyed WWE for a few weeks. I swear I'm still loyal to the cause. He's a fucking turncoat, is what he is.
It was just one time. I promise, just one time.
Yeah, he cheated on Tony Khan multiple times, you slut. Yeah, no, it was wild, to be fair. A real roller coaster of emotions. But hey, isn't that kind of how we're meant to feel? We're meant to feel a bit down. We're meant to feel a bit depressed. We're meant to feel a bit sad that Sami Zayn, couldn't overcome the odds despite an amazing showing. And, I mean, at least we can always hang our hats on the fact that Sami Zayn has been part of arguably the greatest storyline in modern history. Like, that's pretty fucking cool. Who would have thought 2 years ago when he was doing absolutely nothing that we thought he'd be in this position where he is? That's why sometimes we need to like let ourselves go and just enjoy the process, because they will do well by our favorites if we allow them the opportunity. It's grown organically. Sami Zayn is always going to feel like a big deal now coming out of this, no matter what he does. So there is that. But yeah, that was the Elimination Chamber review. Let us know what you thought, guys. If you watched it, if you got any opinions, leave them in the comments below. Send them to us. We can chat about it on the State of Wrestling address, which is this Wednesday, excuse me. So that should be interesting as well. There will be more content now on the YouTube channel because I've got a little break from shows now until sort of early March, which is cool. So I'm going to try and regroup, get everything cleared up, try and get some more content out, and hopefully Kyle Wilkinson will be joining us a lot more because it's been a real joy having him on. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me for the Elimination Chamber review, Sunshine.
Pleasure as always, my friend. I swear, guys, I'm not as depressed as I usually am. This was just a soul ripping thing. I was
depression.
so invested. Like my brain knew what was gonna happen, but like there were some near falls there, man, that I swear I saw the 3. I saw it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it feels good to feel like this about wrestling, though. It does.
Yeah, it's good to have those watch alongs. It's good to have all our friends together to sit in a big group and watch it on Zoom and have fun. We've got Money in the Bank in the UK to look forward to. WrestleMania's coming up. I've got shows out of wazoo. Like 2023 is going to be a really fucking spectacular year for a lot of us when it comes to being wrestling fans and working in the industry. But until then, sadly, that'll do for now, pigs. That'll do, pig. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Aeron X. He's been the Canadian destroyer that is Kyle Wilkinson, and we will catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug. Well done, Sami. Well done, buddy. We're all proud of you. We're super.
I'm so sad.
Oh, I'm fucking dead.